Hi, everyone, and welcome to this 30 second number of the weekly market analysis. Here is Francois Ablé. Hope that you're doing very well. I'm very happy to find you again through our weekly analysis on the financial market, which is presented at the YouTube channel. So, it's your first time to discover me. I'm the main trainer and founder of Global Street Trader Academie, GSTA, as you see on the screen, where we can find our analysis, our daily scenario of market through these social media, including TradingView. You can find me on TradingView as the banner GSTA, and my pseudo is Frank Belfort. So kindly recommend you to subscribe to that. And also, you can send me a question if you want, and you can ask me about like a strategy. You can shoot me anything that you want through the message, the messenger Facebook, or also send me an email as gsta at contact at gstacademy.com if you are in Canada. You can also call me directly on the 514-943-4416. Great. So let's start now uh, for this broadcast. So as a disclaimer, I know that you know master that by well, but it's a precaution before talking trading. You need to be aware of the risk and don't gambling. Okay, the market is very the market has no pity, so very careful with that. You need if you it's your first time to to found the financial market, and you eventually interested to be a trader, you can come in to see us. Then we can manage your framework. We will also show how it work. Then you can make a profit each day on financial market or each week, depends of your availability. Okay, but don't go in yourself and pretend that you'll be fine. It could be very painful. Okay, so the weekly market analysis, as I said, for October, like it take account from today, 29 to the 3rd November. So it's here is the number 22 number of this financial broadcast. So as a summary of presented asset, as you know, and we used to do that. You have a USD CAD Dow Jones called Eurobond, but before we analysis together these four assets, we'll take a look first at the dollar, right? Dollar is our, as I said, every day is our compass, and also compass and a technical compass and technique and a fundamental compass, because he's the major pair who drive the market. He could play the role as the risky asset, or also to be like a very play role of assets, safe assets, depend on the period. So look at here the US dollar index. So we know that since the 1986, so since 32 years, the dollar has been evolved in the descending channel, right? Is we can say like through this free level here, which is 97 point 9265 and 8850, is a kind of the fork level of like historic fork of level for the US dollar index, because it's take account since like the markets play around there since 1986, and we curiously back to the this like fork level. And then I saw that so many people like take account that the dollar is bullish, and my point of view that didn't change it again since like I can say 9 months. Yeah, 9 months exactly. I'm still bearish on the US dollar index. Why? Because we didn't break this solid level on the 90 point, 97 point. If you break it, for sure we can pretend to that we can go into test probably the 100 point. That is like it will show the strength of dollar, and probably the market could also accelerate for the crashing. I know that many people have scared about the situation of the global sell-off on the equity market, but the global sell-off on equity market is also related to based on the dollar and the confidence that the market perceive on the dollar, because you know that at the 6th November we have the midterm of election, right? And the midterm of election, one of like the biggest topics on this particular event, it will be on the tax cuts for the mid class of people of the United States that the President Trump promised that, right? And he will play on that. Then he makes sure for like to be re-elected, or like people we can renew the confidence over this president, right? And I just played a role for like during the week, that's to put the market in intraday, to show people that we could have possibly an head and shoulder inverse right here, right? But I wasn't convinced for that. I just like put this analysis just to see if people believe to that, right? We have here in consolidation, a traditional head and shoulder, right? I know that you know what I'm talking about. It looks it pretty look like a inverted head and shoulder, right? It could be that, right? I'm not discussing about that because technical analysis is very accurate above all on the long term, right? We have this pattern observed here, but this pattern, technical pattern, used to going on the up, right? It used to get off of the break the neckline here, which is supported since like the May and April, right? And it's supposed to break it and going further. I can illustrating here, right? So we break it by we doing a pullback, right, and going up. This is all people expected, right? But I'm not convinced to this pattern at that moment. Why? Because I take account on, I more focus on long-term charts, right? As the daily or monthly charts. Because as I said, in intraday trading, you can focus on macroeconomic data. You can focus on, fundamental analysis. You can focus on others, which is not technical, right? Because you are intraday day trader. But when you want to be, you want to make sure that you will be in a good way on the market, just focus on the long-term charts, because on the long-term charts is already including the macroeconomic data, and also the fundamental analysis is already including in this part, like this solely candle here that you see here. In this particular candle here, you can we can have a probably a 2 CPI, 1 NFP, 1 PPI, blah blah blah, and it's already including that. And in theory economic, we know that in long term the real economic still remain unchanged, right? So I more believe to this double failing on the 97.0 point on the dollar, which is cross since like since 32 years, okay, past. We fell here the first time. We're doing a long weeks for rejection. We do a correction here. We stop here. We came back to test a same level, and then we stuck here. So how could I be a bullish? It looks like very bearish, because if you also put your charts to the closed curve, right, like without the wicks, you can see as well that it might draw kind of double top, and double top, we know that it reinforces the possible failure of the buyers on the market at a certain level, and then we can have a correction after, right? So for all reason that I'm still bearish on the DXY, which is dollar index, right? And as well, you can make a strategy, an intraday for bullish dollar, but don't be exposed on the long time, because you can scalp if you want. But as a day trader or sim trader, it's very risky, right? So here is the potential, and the weekly charts is a potential double top that we observe on this channel. So very careful with your strategy if you want to short like euro dollar, or you want to short the RC dollar. Very careful with that, right? Because the dollar index doesn't look pretty bullish to me. Okay, so I'm going to the USD CAD. Okay, yesterday when I prepared this financial broadcast, USD CAD was we got this. I will show you here. We got this long doji here, the long long leg doji, right? So we got this. We were stuck here, and we're just waiting about the close, right? And we got a close. So that's why I detect the weekly demand here, right? And this is the effect for the BOC, right? Because the BOC was terribly, bullish about there was kept very confident about the the shape of the Canadian economy. So it reinforced the Canadian dollar as well. So that's why we're doing like a back and forth quickly. My expectation on that was kind of a bearish movement to coming until we break it, the weekly demand, which is like non quite very change. It's still like the same level here. And that's why I told you, if you're an intraday day trader, if you are an intraday trader as the USD CAD, you have to be bearish absolutely on the intraday, because we just stuck below this red level. We will see after the end of the this financial broadcast. We have the recap of all I said. It's writing, so you can take a note for the particular key level. Then you can translate or duplicate on your chart to not be full, right? Because this is the proposal for this broadcast that I show you. My strategy is to help you guys, if you're a retail trader or beginners, to not be full on the markets, right? And I give you the reason why. So that's why at this level, not be bullish until we break it, this red level here as a weekly demand as I talk. And the historical POC as I call, which is a dollar 3450. This is a white line here. This white line here works since 1994, right? It's a long-term also level. And if you break it, it could show kind of sell-off movement on USD CAD, as long as also the CAD reinforce, because we have this. You have just great news on the US dollar, on the CAD the loonie. We have like very great news on that. And the dollar seems like be kind of weak, right? So that's why we see clearly like a bit correction. But very careful with this area here, because we could have some like a back and forth and look like a triangle. But if we break $30 $450, then you can like very be short on that. Okay. So let's go to the Dow Jones. Dow Jones here. So Dow Jones again is always the same song. I just duplicating this size of the channel that we break it the last week, and I think we got we rocked the market. We were right for all the four strategies that I show you, and effectively we break the market. We continue. We lost 600 points, and we stuck here as the weekly supply, right? So weekly supply would say if we close here, we stabilize, we could have a rebound right here to going to test again a previous level. Then we can going back again to this target, which is 23,305, where the market has very tested like so many times before to going crazy, right? We tested here the first time as the November 17. It was just 1 year before the 1 year after before the entrance of the Mr. Donald Trump. We have here another test at the February 18 was like when the market has like a crazy movement where we lost 5%. We tested again here in March, right? And so that would be like the potential target here if you break it this weekly supply. But if you rebound it, we could like going to retest this level, this first level here, which is the 24,965 right here. Okay, so that's why if you on an intraday day trader, you have to be very careful. I will give you again at the end of this show the particular level that you have to care about before to put your strategy, or if you want to follow my strategy that I show you, it's also it's all benefit for you. Okay, so Dow Jones looks like neutral to bearish in intraday and the long term too, because we have a channel here. We can double this channel, and it could going until there, or probably it could going until there. So it's a kind of some level here, difference of probably 200 or 230, 300 level that we can have some difference on that. Okay, so let's say let's go to gold. As a goal, also when I prepare this show, I also detect the weekly demand, and remember that the last weekly broadcast that I show you, we were stuck to this triangle pattern, right? And I told you that it could be possibly continue his movement because it looked like pretty much to the pennant. That's why he make. So we have a massive impulsion contraction here, and again we get out of this triangle, like in the sense of the previous way here, and then we stuck here. It look like a pullback until the level. It could pull back until also 1210 here, which is representing the top of the range. Before that, we got this massive impulsion. You could pull back until there, right? Because it's a kind of a withdrawal of all the people we were positioning here. They're probably like a bit tired for the psychology, shake that the market shake them, and they will just like take they reduce the position, but they will probably looking for again a great price to get into the market, because don't forget that this month gold has been bullish, and I wrote an article to show you that gold has been 77% in the time historically bullish in the October, and the market didn't like get me wrong. It showed me that I was right, and we probably doing some pullback, which is absolutely normal. We can pull back until here, like a 1210, or also here, or 1215 or 1216, and then we can also looking for a long opportunity to going to reach like 1240 or 1250. All right, but in intraday, as long as we stay below this red level, don't trying to buy the market. Okay, be bearish for now, and when we're doing a lowest point, then we can trying to going long. Okay, So we finished that with this financial broadcast with the Eurobond. So Eurobond, again, when I prepared this broadcast yesterday, we were to this level. I were here, so the weekly demand as we detect, and I told you that if we stay below 160, just looking for a short. But if you break it, the neckline, we will probably go in for long position. This is the market that is that the market doing, right? If you go into intraday, we have a double bottom here. We break this neckline, and going until this gap here that I will say that we filing the gap. But at that time, we going there and we stuck to the weekly demand. We do some a pullback to the neckline, and then probably we come back again based on the fundamental and also the fundamental and uh, the uh, the evolution of the news in intraday of the market, right? So I will show you like the fundamental recap, as I said. So in terms of the recap for that, the USD CAD as the short term 1 week. We have also the Jamal Khashoggi case still overs on the US market, right? Because it's affecting the commodity as like the oil, right? The relationship between Saudi Arabia, United States, and Iran, right? So you know that most of the like a great number of the company which is doing business with oil they quote on the S&P 500, they could have like a massive painful based on the relationship between this biggest producer of oil, right? So that's why it's indirectly, linked to this case for Jamal Khashoggi. But you have to take into account for the analysis. The promise of Trump to support the middle-income earner with tax program, which is like his biggest topics for this midterm to convince the big electors to come to renew the confidence. It's kind of bearish bias because he need to doing this program is need to have like a dollar lower, right? And Fed tightening policy and hawkish perspective, which is bullish bias. So it's like for side for the dollar. In terms of Canadian on the CAD, the government Canadian ratifying a new trade agreement with Asia and Pacific Economic Zone. So is the Canadian government like trying to diversifying the others area for trade, and we call the APTPJP, which is the agreement partnership trans-Pacific or transatlantic, something like that, global progressive. So it's kind of it could be like one of biggest agreement deal between Vietnam, Chile, Malaysia, and couple of Australia too. So it would be like probably a great a biggest trade agreement between this country for like diversifying, not be concentrated just for United States with the USMCA as including Mexico, right? So this kinds of news, increase the attract for the Canadian dollar, so it's reinforced. The hawkish comments of to BOC to accelerate the rising rate above $35 is a bullish effect we clearly see in the chart. So based on that, we have like a negative in some of weekly or daily news on the USD is negative. On most of bullish or positive news on Canadian, which is the ratio minus on plus, mathematically is giving minus, so it's a bearish momentum or USD CAD as we saw, right? So it's just a simple calculation. So Dow Jones short term on 1 week with a Khashoggi case again, it's still over. The promise of Trump also, as I already cited, and the Fed tightening policy and hawkish perspective because of great GDP pace, because we expecting some like a 3.2% of the GDP in this free quarterly, and we make 3.70 3.5%, right? So we exceed that. So that being said, that I can just waiting about like probably a great NFP number, which is will be released to this first Friday of the new month, which is November. So we expecting for 200,000 figures of the NFP. So that's why if we got this like great shape of the economy, it's just pushing up the Fed to continuing for to doing like a tightening policy. So that being said, in the very short term, we could have also another correction to come at the index, right? It could have some like a sell off on that, right? And the US 10 years bond yield rise also to hitting the 4% for first time for this year is a kind of also of bearish bias, all right, and is affecting the inflation because it's going with the rhythm of the GDP, right? So very careful with the index again this week. So the commodity, the gold, short term, 1 week, we have the central banks they increase the gold reserve for buying a lot gold for the first time since 2013, right? So 2013, 2012, 2013, it was like the first period when the gold has declining severely, right? So that's why don't you can be bearish on intraday on gold, but again, just looking in just waiting a pullback, a great price to get into the market, because it's not a time to be bearish on gold in a very mid-term to long-term, right? Because all central banks, also including Japan, ECB, BOE, the Fed, also they increase the level of the gold reserve. So there's some reason if they doing that. So don't be full on the financial market. And the pressure also of rising bond yield is a bullish bias also, plus any geopolitical event or tension upcoming is getting from bullish effect on the market. So which is it's bullish momentum on gold for upcoming. And for Eurobond, we got some like a QE rhetoric maintained by Draghi, right? We have also Matteo Salvini speech, which he said that the denial of the waning of the debt of Italy on the European zone is not putting on the question on the table, right? It's just it was show like reassuring all the politic and economic observer about the situation of the Italy versus to the European zone. So he said that the Euro skeptical, mind is not like is not great welcome right now because they have others preoccupation of the markets. So that's this news just is that's a pushing higher the euro bond to the to break it the technical level as the neckline that we probably felt this gap. And also, I read that we have a political appeasement on Italy or German. I apologize for that because I just prepared this financial broadcast this weekend, like Saturday and Sunday. But today, I just like right now learning that Mrs. Angela Merkel I've stepped down to the position as the leader to the Christian Democratic Union (CDU). She's just she's just leaving the this party, and it could probably affect also the euro or the politic of the Germany index, all of that. So very careful with this news and like take in account for your analysis in euro dollar or if you trade the DAX, right? And to finish that, upgrade of mark by S&P Global Rating as a Fitch or Moody. They just like giving a great mark to the Eurobond zone, like also to Italy. So that's why it's reassuring all the big investor on debt on the this economic European zone. So that will probably provoke kind of bullish momentum of Eurobond. Okay. So let's finish with that. So as a technical recap, we will see on the front of screen face here, we have a USD CAD. So these $31.31,600 to $1.31,070. You have to stay neutral there, right? Because it's a range. So don't trade with that. As long as we stay in this area, don't trying to do anything. It's my point of view. You can doing everything that you want because you are free. It's just like a recommendation, right? So signal strategy, if we break this level, $31,600, you can buy seriously, of course. And if you break $31,070, then short, which is like makes sense, right? And it's correction or pullback if we break like $30,450, which is kind of possible sell-off movement. You know that you remember the $30,450 is the POC zone, which is working since like the 1994, right? And this is a like very great movement. So in the Dow Jones here, like 24,690 to 24,440. So we have a possibly 250 volatility level. So very careful with this level to buy or sell an opportunity. A single strategy is if you're just waiting, if you break 25,440, then you can short, right? And if you break also 24,690 in intraday, for sure, we can be a long opportunity. But between that, like at this 100 point volatility, very careful with that, okay? Because the market could like trap to you and you can lose money. So all of strategy is in front of you. You can for sure see this recording like anytime, then to take a note or strategy if you want it. But I will stop that because I don't want to make this long this quick weekly recap. I thank you so much for watching this video. It was a pleasure for me to giving to you my strategy each week. It's to helping most of retail trader or also intermediary or advanced. For beginners, I recommend you to talk to me if you want to know how to trade of the financial market. Please feel free to ask any type of question or getting into the JSTA to then we can make sure for your framework and to be like very preparing for trading. So thank you so much for watching this video. Feel free to share and like for boosting this audience and make very popular this weekly meeting. And then it just show me like that you love it, and I will continue for that for sure. So thank you so much, and see you around. Bye bye.